All right, everybody, welcome into the post Royal Rumble after show. It's your boys, the Dumb Marks. Gentlemen, first time together doing the pod live in person.
That's a long time coming.
The food was good.
The food was good. Round table, okay.
Round table, food was good. I got the side angle, left side, the best side, so we're good there. Everybody, thanks for tuning in with us tonight. Like I said, we'll recap the Rumble here, talk about the night that was WWE and all things on the road to WrestleMania. So just getting right into it then. 1 to 10, how do you rate the Royal Rumble 2022?
I'll give it 4.
4.
Yeah.
I'll go 5. I'll go average.
I was leaning towards 6 or 7. I'll go 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at around a 5 myself. Not a whole lot to get excited about per se. Started off the night hot, Seth and Roman.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought Seth coming out with the old Shield music and coming through the crowd, the mental mind games starting off the night was tremendous.
Yeah.
A way for the visionary, the architect, so to speak, to one up the head of the table, the tribal chief himself. So that was good. The match delivered like I knew they would.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, you could say they had match of the night. I don't really think it's close.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything was great up until the finish.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The mind games from Seth were great in the match. I thought he delivered well. But yeah, the finish was the worst part of that.
Yeah. The back and forth between the both in the ring, Seth's offense, Roman offense, and then the back and forth towards the end was all perfect. Like you guys said, until the end.
I actually enjoyed the finish because he did more after that. It wasn't just like anticlimactic. He gave you the chair shots and all that afterwards to call back to the original Shield breakup.
And we talked about on the prediction show Seth and Roman having a longer term storyline and feud than just this, right? So I think by him doing what he did at the end of the match, getting the DQs and taking them out with, I think it was 20 chair shots I counted.
I think so, yeah.
It definitely set the stage for them to circle back around and get to it whenever they want. I don't see them circling back to it for Mania.
No.
So this is
possibly SummerSlam or later.
Yeah, this is going to be what it was for now. And I think they, as we get into the rest of the show here, kind of righted the ship from the COVID issues that they had at day one, right? Trying to get things back aligned with what they originally were going for and what they wanted to book as far as WrestleMania goes. So, yeah, started off the night hot, got everybody excited, jazzed up, and then after that, man, it was deadpan city.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was being in a stadium with the mics not picking up the crowd, because that's one of the deadest crowds I've ever heard at a Big Four pay-per-view in a really long time.
I mean, the crowd was hot for the first match. They thought the crowd was hot for the Women's Royal Rumble, but from that point on, it just gradually got worse.
Mm-hmm. You could tell because the front row, they weren't standing up.
Yeah.
They weren't saying nothing, just heads was turning. I think the sign fire had more attention than anything.
Yeah, listen, word to WWE, if your sign catches on fire from pyro, maybe you should not do any more pyro the rest of the night. They continued to set shit off. Like, what? I mean, you evacuated a whole section of fans.
Mm-hmm.
The sign's on fire. You get that put out. You do the pyro at the end, and the sign's on fire again.
I was impressed. The fire marshal ain't saying anything to them like, "Hey, it's time for this not to be used anymore."
Yeah. Unless everything was so triggered at that point, maybe they couldn't even prevent from stopping it.
Yeah, this was not a good show, top to bottom. We talked about the Royal Rumble matches themselves being the most wide open in recent years, as far as no clear-cut favorite. Although, shout out to the bookies and the odds makers, because they had Ronda Rousey pegged as the favorite and Brock Lesnar pegged as the favorite, and sure enough,
Both of them.
It played out that way.
Well, everybody's in no. I mean, it's WWE. You can't keep anything secret. So.
I mean, originally going in, Brock Lesnar was my favorite to win, but day one kind of threw me for the loop. But like you said, Steve, they kind of raided the ship with this event now, so they're back. Hopefully, they're back on track for what they wanted for the road to WrestleMania to be.
Right, and I brought up, and we talked about on a prediction show on Thursday with with our special guest Mars from the Down in the Den and Dave from the Pro Wrestling Pod, how you could have Lesnar win, or you could have Lashley win and Lesnar go over in the Royal Rumble, but by doing that, you give away your finish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely tipped their hand as soon as Lashley won, especially with how he won.
Yeah.
You have Reigns come out and hit a Superman punch after a ref bump when you could have had 4 refs run down and count out, Reigns, or give a disqualification based off of how long Roman stood there holding the title.
And the ref ran in like nothing happened, like he didn't see anything.
Yeah,
He just followed
nothing
the
happened,
match,
right?
but, yeah.
You get the Heyman swerve, aligned with Reigns with the Tribal Chief. Did it pan out the way that I thought it would? Not necessarily. You could kind of see it coming. I think they tipped their hand a lot with their moves on the chessboard, so to speak.
I honestly, building to this match, whenever I thought it was going to be Roman and Brock at WrestleMania, I thought we were going to see the payoff for Paul then at WrestleMania. That was going to be part of the story building up to it. Like, where is Paul's allegiance really? Like, and then you would get that at WrestleMania for him to, this is who he's going to side with from then on. It makes sense for him to align with Roman because Brock's only a part timer. So.
I'm okay with the wise man going back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still has the Roman's character. So.
Yeah. All right. So other matches on the card, we're not gonna stay on these a lot because to me they were pretty, non-consequential as far as progressing storylines towards WrestleMania. They were matches on the card because they were matches on the card. Becky and Doudrop. Becky retains. We all thought she was going to retain as a clean sweep. Nobody, felt otherwise. And then, that will lead to WrestleMania Night 1. Her and Ronda main event.
Yeah, most likely.
That's what we're leading to. I mean, you didn't bring Ronda back for no reason.
No.
Right. Ronda was announced for Raw on Monday night. And the story has written itself. Right. You go back. Ronda comes out. She might get cheered in the beginning. You throw the video of Becky's shoulders at Mania, and the story's off and running. Right?
Plus, you never got the initial one-on-one.
Never got the initial one-on-one. It was a triple threat, and this whole Becky, big time Bex, the man, the champ, that never happens because Ronda's shoulders were never down for the 3 count. And that's your story. Do not, I beg you, I plead with you, WWE creative, do not try to make this more difficult than what it needs to be.
Add more to it, like they did before with the main event. When they added Charlotte to it, then they added the SmackDown Women's title to it. It was just too convoluted. Just keep it simple.
Simple and predictable cannot always be a bad thing in wrestling. You can still make it entertaining and fun for the ride.
Absolutely. So yeah. Since we're on the women, let's just dive into the women's Rumble match itself. We had, I think, 22 or 23 women announced prior to tonight's match, so not a lot of room for surprises. We did get a couple. Cameron was a surprise. Alicia Fox was a surprise. Melina was a surprise.
Melina was a good surprise.
It was just kind of wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasted. Sasha eliminated her right away. Ivory was another surprise. So those were your 4 surprises, right?
Yeah.
For the most part. Other than that, it was pretty much part of the course.
Molly
Holly, and then Rousey.
Yeah.
Right? So there's your 6. Rousey was probably the worst kept surprise.
Yeah.
Everybody knew she was coming back. If you pay attention to any type of tea leaves and follow up rumor and innuendo.
That's why I hate dirt sheets, my timeline. I hate all of it. Just can't have nothing.
I was actually a little surprised that she did come back, only being 3 months off for pregnancy.
Mhm.
You know, I thought maybe she'll wait till after WrestleMania to come back. That's where I was thinking with it. But I'm not a Ronda hater, so like I'm okay with Ronda. You know, coming back, see what she does, see how the crowd responds to her this time around. I don't need her to be the champ again. You know, I'm okay with her facing Becky because, like we said, there's the story's there.
Yeah, I wasn't okay with it. I mean, you had so much time off and everything. You're forgotten about. I mean, it's time to move on and build up other people. I mean, but she's just taking somebody else's spot, just like I always say about legends. Your time is done with, just like I say about CM Punk. Time's over with. It's time to move on.
You knew she was coming back, though.
It's time to
You
move
knew she was
on.
coming back. Is it everybody's time to move on? You knew she was coming back.
You off for 2 years, and you come right back into the title picture.
Is it Becky's time to move on?
No, it's not.
Then it's not Ronda's time to move on.
Becky's a full time though.
Ronda's full time too. Was. I don't know what
At the time she was. Yeah.
I'm not sure what she signed on to now, but
I think, and you saw this in both Royal Rumble matches. There's not a lot of people on either side of the men's or women's division that are legitimate championship contenders, which is why I think you got the winners you got. That the men's Royal Rumble itself, that was filled with nothing but lower to mid card tier individuals. That was
that was kind of like every Rumble though. I mean, you at least had 6 or 7.
Go through that men's Royal Rumble and tell me who the stars were in that men's Royal Rumble.
AJ, McIntyre.
No, he is not. Nope, he's not a star.
He's still
No, he's not.
They didn't treat him like a star.
No, he's not.
They didn't, but he's still
No,
a
he's
star.
not.
What they didn't treat AJ like a star or like a star.
They didn't
They
treat
did.
him like a star. They had Madcap
Yeah,
Moss
we
for
have
him.
Madcap.
But he's still a star.
I mean, he at least made it halfway through.
He's still a star. He's still a championship.
You've
contender.
given me one guy out of 30.
I gave you AJ.
One.
I gave you E. I gave you Randy, McIntyre.
Randy is a star.
Yeah.
You know, there's no denying that.
Mm.
It wasn't treated like one this match either. You know, it's like
It's
In
the
and
Rumble.
out,
It's the
yeah.
Rumble. Anybody can get got in the Rumble.
yeah.
Once Brock came in, it was game over.
Anybody can get.
It was
I mean,
game over.
he had his couple eliminations. You know, him and Riddle got the couple eliminations as soon as he came in, and that was cool. But that's all they got. You know, nobody really had time to breathe and do anything in this match. For a 60-minute match, you know, I know there's a lot of parts that move in this match, but you know, there used to be a lot of stories being told in the Rumble, and both the women's and the men's tonight, I didn't feel like there was any stories being told.
Nobody really shined.
You know who shined? Bad Bunny shined. You gave Bad Bunny the most shine out of anybody in the Royal Rumble, and he's a celeb coming back into the biggest match of the year that sets up your road to WrestleMania, and he gets more shine than any of your wrestlers. What are we doing?
So does that mean that he's coming back for Mania?
I don't care. It doesn't
No, I don't
matter.
care either.
It's the problem with WWE not being able to build stars on either side of the board.
I mean, y'all got pissed when Madcap threw out AJ.
Yeah,
That
because
could've
Madcap
been-
Moss should not
that
be
could've been
throwing
his
out
moment.
Styles.
That could have been his moments, but no, y'all shit on it as soon as it happened.
Did it work when Maven dumped Undertaker out? No, it didn't. It's not going to work for Madcap Moss. So why
For
you have
Madcap
him
Moss,
take
but it would've
AJ
been-
Styles out?
They should have been building Madcap Moss up to this point. Not automatically, let's throw out AJ. Like, he's still Corbin's assistant. When
He'll be
wants to
telling a
come back-
bad dad joke on Friday night.
I think you had the line of the night with it. He's going to be eliminated, or he's going to be future endeavored even before he gets his shine.
Yeah, he'll be future endeavor before Mania.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said after, they just do this shit to piss me off.
You were just mad AJ got kicked out. That was
Yeah.
No.
If Orton would have eliminated AJ, something like that, I would have been fine with that. You don't give me Madcap Moss eliminating AJ Styles.
Anything can happen in the Rumble.
Not whenever they're on two different brands. They don't interact at all, and they're never going to see each other again.
So you
Exactly
gotta have
what I was
you gotta have
thinking.
feuds to throw out in the Rumble.
No, but if you're trying to give somebody the rub to build them, and like Chris said, the Rumble typically You have more storylines woven in than just the winner going into Mania. There's other stuff that sets up other feuds for Mania. AJ and Madcap Moss are not wrestling at Mania. They're not going to feud on a weekly basis. They're not going to see each other again. One's on SmackDown, one's on Raw. So why are you having Madcap Moss throw out AJ Styles?
So the rumor for AJ is him and Edge at WrestleMania. That's what's floating around right now. So Edge wasn't in the Rumble, so you can't really build upon that. But you could at least given me something like somebody on Raw. Like if Almost would have thrown out AJ, I would have been cool with that too. Just because that's part of their storyline. Give me something that AJ
Royal
could have
Rumble
done.
where anything can happen, and you want storylines in it.
I always want storylines. We'll circle back around to that.
There's 30 other people in this ring, but let me target this one guy for a storyline.
When
Just
there's
throw
30 people that
the goal is to throw somebody over the top rope. Anybody, everybody, no friends, no partners. Anybody can go.
when you have just anybody can do anything at any time, that's just lazy booking.
No.
It's not storytelling. It's just
not in the
booking.
Royal Rumble. You don't need storytelling in the Royal Rumble
There's always
But there's been
Royal
in the
Rumble.
past. Why did that stop?
because you don't need it. It's the Royal
So
Rumble.
this year
It's
this
the
year
Royal
alone, they
Rumble.
just decided to stop telling stories for the Royal Rumble.
I don't even know if it's just this year. I
They
think we
told
can probably look
stories
at the
in the
past
past,
couple of
yeah.
years.
Yeah, they told
Yeah, they
stories in
told
the
the
past.
past.
What?
Whenever
mean?
Roman threw out Undertaker, where'd that lead to?
Roman and Taker, Edge and Orton. Edge comes back. They have the face-to-face. Eliminate. There's your story. That went through Royal. They had the greatest match ever.
Calling
That's
it
a
now.
storyline. This is a
Madcap
storyline
versus
now.
AJ. Calling it now. Somewhere down the
Yeah,
line.
yeah,
Somewhere down the line.
Somewhere down the line.
92, Sid and Hogan eliminated each other from the Rumble. That led to their match at WrestleMania. Not that that's a good match.
You can do it. You do it. I mean, just because it's 30 minutes in a ring, don't go, okay, we're not telling no stories. Everybody just pick somebody up, throw them out at this point,
Yes.
and we'll move on.
Yes.
That's not how the Rumble match is. That's not how they've done the Rumble match.
You can go to IWC, watch a Battle Royale that has more story being told in that Battle Royale than what WWE provided for 60 minutes in the Royal Rumble
Don't need
tonight.
I don't need it. The goal is for one person to win. I don't care about a damn storyline. The goal is for one person to win, and that's his storyline. I don't need anything else to come out of it. One person wins, that's his story.
So you got Brock Lesnar winning it, right? And you're happy with that.
I don't care.
See, that's
I don't mind. I picked E. I picked E, but I don't mind.
That's terrible.
But we've
Because-
had this conversation.
Yeah, because when Roman threw out Undertaker, they main evented the WrestleMania.
They don't.
So the winner didn't even main event the WrestleMania.
I don't mind.
We've had this conversation on the show before, and it's the same
I
exact
don't
answer.
mind.
Exact
I
We
don't
care
mind.
about stories, Jason doesn't. So.
Oh.
2 hours of Royal Rumble match. What did we get out of it?
Nothing on both sides, men and women.
A 4-hour pay-per-view. What did we
You
walk
got a
away with?
Sonya Naomi continuation. You're happy?
I'll give you
You got a
that.
storyline.
I'll give you that.
You got a
I'll
storyline.
give you that.
I'll give you that one. That one.
Yeah.
60 people in a match. I'll give you that one storyline.
It seemed like the women's match, they were just in the corner, just like, here, you
Yeah.
do this move. Okay, we'll turn around. You do this move.
It's filler
Like,
spot.
you
It's
turn
every
around,
Rumble.
move to
That-
the-
Now we're nitpicking Royal Rumbles. Royal Rumbles where
No.
anything can happen. You're
Not
nitpicking.
picking, but it
Spots in the
shouldn't.
corner.
It shouldn't stand out to the point where I noticed
No, you're looking for
for
it.
10 minutes.
You
No,
guys are looking for
no,
it.
I'm not
No,
looking
I
for it.
wasn't looking
I
for
wasn't
it.
looking for it, and I
I'm
didn't give
not
a damn.
looking for it.
I didn't even notice it. I was looking at whoever was the main focus at that moment. I'm not in the corner looking where Liv Morgan
Yeah.
is fighting Zelina Vega for 2 hours. I'm not looking for that.
But is that Kevin Dunn problem where the camera should be
This
cutting to different areas?
this show was shot terribly.
Yes, it
The
was.
production on this show was horrible.
I mean, you got your
Horrible.
typical throw a punch, move the camera, throw a punch, move the camera. Throw a
No,
punch,
it
move
was
the camera.
worse than that.
Yeah.
Whenever Reigns was hitting Seth with the chair, it was like going in and out.
Yeah.
Okay, cut to this one, in and out. Cut to this. It was.
When you guys
It
don't
was
like
motion
something,
sickness.
you go in looking to hate.
No,
That's it.
I was not.
You guys
Listen,
go in looking to hate. That's all I heard all night.
no,
I seen you smirking at points because you enjoyed the show, but you hated the whole damn show.
no.
Some you popped for some stuff,
What
but
did I
you
pop
hated the
for?
whole damn
What did
show.
I popped myself because I was shitting on the show. I'm like, what did I pop for?
Jeremy was over here talking about the grit couple. He's smiling at the match, laughing at Maurice cracking jokes.
No,
Enjoy-
first off,
he got caught up in the moment. Y'all went in hating
No,
to find
No.
something to hate.
The first,
No,
honestly,
not
no,
hate.
because the first match was good. Like we actually had hopes for the show because the first match kicked it off and just like cool.
What did I say on the show this morning? And what did I say Thursday night? The Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view of the year. It's my favorite pay-per-view of the big four. It always has been. It always will be. I go into this show the most excited because of what comes out of it and what they go and do with WrestleMania. I was not coming in with the eyes of watching the show as far as, oh, I'm going to nitpick all this and point all this stuff out.
Sound like
But
it,
as
man.
I'm watching the match
Sound like
and the
it.
same two people are in the same corner for 10 minutes and haven't done anything else or move on to other people, yes, you're going to have filler. It's a freaking 45 to a 55-minute match. Yes, you're going to have filler. That's to be expected. But you got to make it to where it's not obvious and it smacks you in the face as a viewer.
Look, people, I sat in that corner and enjoyed the whole damn show, just sitting there like
Because
this.
you're a
And all I
WWE
hear is chirping in my ear. How about that? How about that? I'm watching the show, enjoying it. How about that? How about that? AEW wouldn't do this shit. How about that?
You're a WWE mark. That's what you do. There is nothing that company could have put on that will get you to go, that was terrible. That wasn't good. You like every single thing that's done.
I don't. I think I gave the show a 6.
I was just about to say, yeah, I'll give him credit. He didn't give a great score for the show.
Gave it a 6, but he's talking up these segments like it's a 10.
No, I'm talking.
Dave Meltzer rating.
I'm not talking them up. I'm just talking like y'all went in looking to nitpick. That's what it feels like now.
No, it wasn't nitpicking.
Again, after the first match, I was like,
Yes.
because you know me in Roman matches.
Mhm.
You know how I don't like those. And I was in on that whole match until the end, the very end, and that took away. But I honestly, I thought I was like, all right, we're starting off with a really strong start here to this pay-per-view. I was like, they might be delivering, and they just didn't after that.
Not only that, but as a viewer, while you're watching the show, no matter how in tune you are, how much you should not be able to predict the rest of the show and what their plans are moving forward as you're watching the show. So you can't have Ronda's music hits, and as soon as she hits,
No,
okay,
you don't.
she's gonna win. She wins. Becky wins. That's Mania main event. Bobby beats Brock. Okay, guess what? Brock's in the Rumble, coming out at 30. He's gonna win and face Reigns at Mania. You gave away your whole damn show before the show even happened.
That's dirt sheets.
That's
That's
not
you.
dirt
That's you
sheets.
guys staying in the know. That's you guys reading everything.
That's
I don't
me
read
watching
shit.
it with an eye.
No.
As a fan watching it, you
knew
can tell what's gonna happen.
You went in knowing Ronda was coming back.
I said I saw Ronda was coming.
You guys went in knowing Roman Reigns was going to win. Because you're reading all the stories.
No, I predicted Roman Reigns winning because what did I say on the prediction show? Roman is going to beat Seth. Why? Because Seth is not the guy to beat Roman. He don't need the rub.
And they're on 2 different shows.
Because you read the tea leaves.
And they're on 2 different shows. That's not me reading the tea leaves.
They're on 2 different shows.
See, now you're projecting what I'm doing in my spare time.
You're reading it. Yes, you're reading the dirt sheets. You're reading the tea leaves.
But it goes back to what I said about the Becky Ronda match. You can know the outcome and have a predictable story, but you can make it entertaining at the same point. If it's not entertaining, the destination can be known 6 months in advance, but if the road to that destination isn't entertaining,
it just started. It just started.
But I guarantee you they screw it up.
It missed the road to WrestleMania. It just started.
I guarantee you they screw it up.
Like we just got in the car, man.
I guarantee you they screw it up.
We just turned the key, man.
my car's sputtering a little bit right now. My engine's saying, I don't know where to make this.
There's gonna be something to mess it up. It will be.
I feel like I drove off the lot in a lemon after this.
So what do we get to? We got women's. We got the opening. We got women's rumble. We got Becky Doudrop.
Hold on. To go back to the women's rumble. The finish of the rumble was not good at all.
Not good.
You have a face off, and then a running pump kick by Charlotte that gets caught and then it's dumped over the ring.
Like that's it.
what do we say 3 minutes in? Like, Ronda comes out and has a strong start, and then it's just like she's sitting there punching Nikki or Brie, and it's just like Ronda's gassed.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're just coming back. Like, you're not going to be in tip-top physical shape to where you can get in there and go for 20 minutes. And I'm not saying Ronda had to come back and go for 20 minutes.
No.
But when you're down to the final two, especially when you set the table where you have 3 heels, even though Ronda got a pop, she's going to get booed Monday night as soon as Becky's music hits.
But that's when you flip Shayna and Ronda.
Which they didn't do.
They should have flipped their spots.
Which they didn't do. So you had, Bianca goes out, Shayna goes out, then Bianca, and then you get a pump kick and a dump over the top rope, and it just was like, no.
It's too easy.
Yeah, way too easy.
Especially with the history between those two,
Yeah.
also.
Right. Because Charlotte was in that triple threat match, so you would think there would be more.
And they put on good solo matches.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
fought at Survivor Series against her.
Right. Granted, she ended it with a kendo stick, but still, they had a good match before that, right? Like, yeah, it just, and the men's, you could say the same thing for the men's finish, as far as it being, and now granted, reports are that they were up against the clock. You had to have it done before midnight. You had to do the spot with the pyro, which the sign caught on fire again.
I don't know if they expected anything different.
So it was definitely rushed there at the end to get it in. To do 8 to midnight, you don't need it.
No.
You don't need it. Going into the card, you have 2 Royal Rumble matches. That's 2 hours of your show. Other than that, you have 3 championship matches. That should have been it. And even that might be too much. Throw something on the pre-show because you didn't have a match on the pre-show.
Shocked about that.
But yeah, it's just not the start I was looking for the road to WrestleMania. So overall question, and we argued about it a little bit earlier. What does WWE have to do to stop relying on the past? Because a lot of this show was the past. You can Edge, Beth, Miz, Maurice, you can say that's the past. 15, 20 years plus for the 4 of those people in the ring. Brock. A lot of the Women's Royal Rumble was past.
Surprising, no NXT.
No NXT at all on this card.
That was a missed moment.
But it's fully developmental, so you're not going to get that tie-in like you've had in years past because it's
you still have like people that are in the know, like they had Mandy, Raquel.
Right, and you could use that as a way to bring somebody up and put them on the roster.
Well,
and
a lot of the NXT talent today was posting pictures of them, like backstage pictures, like of them in gear, and like saying like tonight and stuff. So it's just like there were people there, and they were just trying to throw you off. But
well, there were reports that Vince continued to change the card up until showtime, like all day long, rewrites, changes, and everything else. Which, not saying that it was to the detriment of the show, but at the same time, it didn't help the product.
Which is surprising because usually the Rumble the match itself is heavily practiced.
Right.
So that's kind of surprising that he was still doing it today.
Yep.
And that could be, you saw the Kofi botch. Maybe that's why. Maybe that wasn't originally planned or something, and he didn't have a chance to practice it or something. Who knows? But
yeah, but to get away from the past to move forward, on our show this morning, we said AEW. If you look at all their champions right now, they're all young AEW talent, right? I mean, you look across the landscape of WWE right now, and based off of the number of wrestlers that they've let go over the past year and a half, to me, you have to rely on these people that have, 20 years plus, 15 years plus, because you don't have the names and the talent on the roster to carry your program. They are extremely top heavy right now, but for me, the caveat of being extremely top heavy, that top heavy layer is super thin. Probably the thinnest it's been in WWE in a really long time, as far as how many people you can go deep and say they're top tier.
I think a lot of it has to do with Vince, that he just doesn't buy into some of the younger talent. Like we talked about on the show, that he doesn't buy into Finn Balor. Finn's in the spot that he's in because Vince doesn't see him moving past that. Well, Vince doesn't see the young guys, but he goes back to the old guys because he feels that he can trust them. It's on Vince. There's nothing else other than that. Like Vince needs to move on to the younger talent.
I said in previous shows, you're not going to know about if your young talent is good enough until you let them swim on their own. They have to let them go.
So you're fine with the Madcap Moss elimination of AJ Styles as a point to be the first step to make a star, right? You're saying if you're going to make a star, why not use that as a springboard to make a star?
No, that's what I was being asked,
but no,
yeah.
Talking as far as them not having stars and what you would do. So if you were to, and he has a hell of a look. The dude is look. Look, the shtick right now sucks. He's been given a terrible gimmick. He's making the best of it. It is what it is. But if you're going to use him, if you see something in him to have him eliminate AJ Styles from the Rumble, what do you do next to build him up to be where he can turn into a star?
Turn on Corbin.
That's a start because he can't be his assistant trying to get this stuff pulled. Mm-hmm.
But what then do you do with that? That's a whole other gimmick change then.
Hold on, let me rephrase this because it's probably a better way to put it. If you're going to push him to be a star, how do you prevent the stop-start that WWE does with talent across the board in order so he can get to the point where he can get over? Because to me, as much as the characters that they give him are shit and the creative shit, the number one biggest factor why you don't have stars is the start-stop push. You heat them up for a week or two, you think that they're going to go somewhere with them, and then next thing you know, their legs are cut off and you don't see him for 3 months. Hell, Elias, we thought he was going to push how many times, and that was somebody that was supposedly looked upon as being very highly reviewed in the back, and he hasn't been seen on TV since he burned the guitar in the woods, 8 months ago.
I was going to say, gotta be close to a year on that.
So, like, what do you do? Or can they do anything? Like, can they get out of their own way and not? Can they eliminate the stop-start booking to where you can actually build up people? Because you need time to build up people. We saw this in AEW, right? Hangman's been built up for 2 years. Comes in and now he's champion and everybody's behind him and he's the face of the company and it works because you spent 2 years building him up. Would WWE take the time and build somebody up like that?
2 years? No.
So what is enough time to build somebody up? If you're not going to do it for that length of time, what is in your eyes, what would be the amount of time to have somebody be able to build them up to get them to be a star?
You can turn that in half a year. But I wouldn't make them be a star to put them right in the main event picture. I'd start you slow into IC territory and then move up from there. I'm not gonna just put you take Madcap and just bam shoot him straight to the main event picture.
I'll give an example of, we'll take Shawn Michaels. 95 he won the Royal Rumble, main event WrestleMania 11, and then didn't really get his main event push until he won Royal Rumble 96, had his Iron Man match with Bret at WrestleMania 12, and then from then on he was main event. So that took a whole year of them from Royal Rumble to Royal Rumble basically to factor him in the minds of fans as a main eventer. Because from that point before, he had been either a tag team champion or Intercontinental champion.
But I thought he was already a star.
But was he a main event star?
No, but he was a star at that point.
He was definitely well known. I don't think he was a main event star, and I think they took their time with him, for that year to develop into a main event star. How often do they really do that with people anymore, though?
They don't.
No.
They don't.
Like, you don't see and someone brought up, I don't remember who it was, said they did it with Bianca last year.
Yeah, I
You
said
know?
that earlier.
Okay.
They did that with
And I'll
Bianca.
give that.
Her first Rumble, she had a really good showing. Was
Yeah.
super strong. Was clearly the MVP of that Royal Rumble. Last year, she won it. Went on main event. Sasha. We all saw how that won, and you know how that played out. And then this year again, she comes in at 8, and is again in there till the final 4. So 3 years in a row, Rumble to Rumble to Rumble. She's like, you can tell she's there.
I feel like you can look at her and be like, she has something.
Absolutely.
There's other people you're just like, can you get the crowd behind them?
And I mean, other than that, like other than take Bianca out, who else have they done that Rumble build up for?
Nobody.
You know, it's been years since they've done that. I feel like they've kind of
on the men's side.
Yeah, like, and I can't even. I'm gonna say I think that they do it more with the Money in the Bank. That's where somebody gets a shine. But I even feel the past few years they've kind of shit on that too.
To me, that's where I feel Theory's coming in.
Yeah,
that's why I had him as my sleeper because I thought this year he's been since what was that right? Was that day one or when did he steal the
Survivor
egg?
Series?
Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor Series till now he's been on screen with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Right?
So all of December, all of January.
Right. He's beaten Finn Balor. He's beaten Jeff Hardy. Right? He's had moments. He just wrestled AJ on Raw this past week. Right? Had a really strong showing. Right? I felt he was in there for about 22, 24 minutes. Had good spots. Did his thing. That's somebody that you could take. Okay, you established him now. He's a lot of screen time with Vince. Now you take this next year and build him up to where you may, depending on how things shake out and see how he does, have him go in and be a surprise like Bianca was last year.
Yeah.
You could potentially do that. Would people turn on him immediately? I don't know. But at the same time, at least you're honing in on somebody and you're doing the right thing by taking him through the process and getting him built up. You know, I mean, what I found intriguing, and this is gonna tie back into Lesnar because we're talking about relying on the past. When they showed that video package for him and Bobby again, 5 months in, he's heavyweight champion on the roster. So 5 months, he comes up, debuts. 5 months later, he's beating The Rock, winning the belt. But optics-wise, you knew looking at Brock, he was going to be the guy, right? Like he was going to be something. They don't have that individual where you can look at him and go, okay, he's going to be the guy. And that's a problem. Right now, that's a problem for them.
What have we said? What did we say most of 2021? Who's going to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns? We all thought it was going to be Big E, and then they, for whatever reason, they changed course on that, like we say. You know, it's like, and so since Big E became champion, what was that? Back in September, October? We haven't seen anybody get developed in that spot. Here we are that many months later, and we still don't know who's going to beat Roman. And most likely Roman's going to retain at WrestleMania, and so we're going to continue a few months more. Like Roman's going to probably go on to almost 2 years as champ if he doesn't hit it. You know, maybe he drops at SummerSlam to somebody, but who's it going to be? Like, to go back to your point, you don't see anybody right now in that spot.
I think that's the biggest issue when you let so much talent go, because of this. You know, if it's real or not, but I'll call it the hunter hate, where you don't take people that were built up as stars in your developmental, even though they were a third brand and were sometimes bigger and more watched, especially on a pay-per-view wise, than your main roster. But that's when you don't take some of those people that you could actually look at them and go, okay, I can see you being a main guy.
But who would you have seen other than Cross and Lee? Is there anybody else that you would have seen that got released?
That's come up from NXT?
That got released?
That's been through NXT.
They got released?
Yeah.
It's like just released.
Yeah. Or on the roster right now.
I mean, I think Owens and Finn deserve more love than they get.
They do.
Even not that Cesaro was an NXT person, but I think Cesaro deserves more love than he gets too a lot of the times.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like for whatever reason he sours on these people and puts them in those spots. And
Nakamura, they should have been champ one time, at least once. But they had him lose to Jinder Mahal, 2 times?
I mean, you had Andrade come up, nothing. Malachi Black Aleister Black come up, nothing. You look at what he's doing now. I mean, he's a ball of fire right now in AEW.
Veer's coming.
Veer's not coming.
Veer's coming.
Veer's pink slip is coming before Veer.
I can hear the sarcasm come out of that one.
Honestly, I like the guy in the ring.
Veer?
So yeah, he could be something.
I really can't say one.
Honestly, the only guy right now where I can look and say, okay, you have a guy is Braun Breaker.
And how far out is he from even being the guy?
Well, he's not that far out. Hell, he came in October and they put the NXT Championship on him now.
They just put it on him, so he's going to be champ at least for a few months. You bring him up right after Mania, then, and then
why not?
Why not?
You need an interjection of something.
But do you feel like you need that at NXT?
Breaker at NXT? No, not if they're doing this where 6-8 months. If we don't see it in you, here you go. Well, okay, he's come in, 6-8 months, October to May. You know what I mean? Like, all right.
And then they have a problem with who's the next guy in NXT.
That was my thing.
But that's developmental, though. So it doesn't even matter who's the next champ down there.
It's hard to look at WWE. Like, we're getting to the point now where the past can't go, right? If Father Time catches up with everybody, right? You've been hanging on to the past for how many years? Okay, and I get bringing people back in for spots in the Rumble and everything else. That's great. I get if you bring back for a short run and you do Rumble to Mania for somebody, that's great, right? But you've been reliant on the past for years, and not just on special occasion, Mania type matches. We're talking week to week television product. You've been relying on the past, and at some point, there's not going to be a pass for you to turn around and reach for because nobody's going to be able to go anymore.
Even Orton recently said in an interview that he plans on retiring at 50. So he's got at least, probably 5 more years?
What did John Cena say, too, a couple years ago? Saying that what's WWE doing for them not to call him, as like the emergency glass.
I mean, look how much he sold whenever he came back last summer. He was the number 1 merchandise mover.
Yeah.
So that's why they do it, I guess, because they know that they can make the money off of it.
So, to put a bow on this, and we'll get thoughts on how we see the road of Mania playing out. As far as right off the top of my head right now, if I'm booking Mania based off of what they did tonight, I go Ronda, Becky. I have Brock, Roman. I have Seth, Bobby. I'll do Edge and AJ. Charlotte is an interesting one because I don't know where they go.
I was looking at her to fight Lita because they had like a little stare off with each other with the WrestleMania sign up top.
Yeah.
She did eliminate Lita, and Lita's rumored to be around, but again, it's
that's relying on the legend.
But what did Lita do in this match? It's not like she got eliminated, in some screwy way.
Mm-hmm.
She got eliminated. That was her shot to become the number 1 contender for a title. So does she get a match now, or does she just, like they've done the past few years, she's going to come out, point to the sign, and call out Charlotte?
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's not a story. Sorry.
So yeah, Charlotte right now is kind of in limbo.
Yeah.
Just kind of what I see them going off of from what they did tonight. I'm sure they'll add some intrigue because you know, Ronda eliminated Charlotte, so there'll be beef there. And again, she was part of the triple threat, so you could possibly see,
Fight
know,
elimination
yeah.
chamber.
Um, but yeah, she's the one piece right now where I don't see a clear cut person to face her at Mania yet.
But you figure you still got Bailey and Sasha.
Well, we might have Bailey. We don't know.
Yeah. Might have Bailey, might have Sasha, might have Asuka.
Sasha did not look good tonight.
No, she didn't.
No.
She still looked hurt.
She didn't look like last night.
Yeah, I think it was a complete, hey, can you come back and give me 7 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
We won't have you do a lot. Can you give me 7 minutes?
So you can see she was off in the corner.
Just to get, the pop and the buzz and everything else. And maybe they did that with McIntyre too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. Listen, if they put everything out there that his neck injury was what it was, and that was all a swerve just to have him come back as a surprise entrance to blow the crowd,
He took some bumps.
okay, great. But I mean, for him to take the moves that he took with the neck injury as serious as it was supposed to be.
Brock in the ring.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't injured, like if that was a work, what was the point of doing it really? Just to have him return as a surprise entrant, like.
Yeah, because he didn't win.
Yeah.
So you didn't you worked it, but you failed to execute on the finish because you had Brock go over.
Yeah.
There's Bailey on her IG.
I mean, you wrapped up that Madcap storyline.
Did you see Bailey's Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her in the chair just sitting watching the Rumble. Drink a wine.
Said something like, "What I want hasn't been invented yet," or something like that. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Very disappointed in tonight, just because of how excited I get for the Rumble and how it actually played out. If this was, a $60 pay-per-view I had to purchase,
I'd be calling my cable company.
yeah, I'd be real mad right now.
I didn't order that.
My kids hit that button.
Yeah, exactly.
But I did like Mickey James coming out.
Yeah.
With the title and the horrible country, it sounded weird coming over the WWE speakers.
But
But you never got hurt in Charlotte.
never got hurt in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's where they go. I threw out the fantasy booking of, if you really want to do this Forbidden Door with Impact and everything else, then you have Mickey win the Rumble and face Charlotte in a in champion versus champion type situation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you build up to that, but to me this was a one and done deal.
Yeah.
She
No,
came
I'd be
back,
very
got her shot,
surprised.
and that's it.
Got her pop.
Yeah.
That was it.
So
She threw out.
McCool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did Lita throw her out?
That little robbery.
Lita threw her out, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But you could tell tonight that there isn't really as much of a forbidden door in WWE as people were expecting with the whole Nikki situation, because if there was, they would have said Melina's from the NWA, where she's currently wrestling, and there was no mention of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was waiting for Mickey to fall out too, because Corey Grace was like, "Look at that impact."
Yeah.
That quick shot.
And that was just kind of like, okay, flop, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she had time. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
she did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
did they do anything tonight that makes you want to tune in on Monday for Raw?
Just to see Becky eviscerate Braun on the mic.
I mean, that you have to open the show with that, right? Monday night.
Yes, you do.
You have to.
Mm-hmm.
You announced her, like, you don't save her for the 9 o'clock crossover or the 10 o'clock crossover. Like, 8 o'clock, Ronda's music hits, she walks out to the ring.
And then the commercial after the Rumble, after she won, they said it would be like, "Oh, she's confirmed on Raw," like instantly. So, yeah.
That and Bobby.
Bobby, yeah.
I still want to tune in for Bobby.
So, Raj from Wrestling Inc. said that Bobby beating Brock was a big deal.
This way? Or
Tonight, in general. He said a lot of people, Brock Lesnar doesn't lose to a lot of people, and Bobby Lashley just beat Brock Lesnar. This is a big deal. And I rebutted to him, and I said, no, it's not a big deal. If it was a big deal, Bobby would have beat him clean in the middle of the ring.
Because Brock, if he likes you, he let
in that sense, I agree, but it should have been a bigger deal. It would have been a bigger deal if he beat him clean.
It was just a progressing the Brock and Roman storyline.
I would have rather seen Roman come in, interfere, cause a distraction more than anything to allow Bobby to do something, hit his finisher or whatever, instead of Roman doing the heavy lifting and then Bobby just picking up the scraps. I mean, I think that the win for Bobby is good. What is a big deal, because again, Brock doesn't let a lot of people beat him. So I think, at least Brock saw enough in Bobby that he was okay with dropping the title to him. But
It just could have been played out better.
yeah, I like Bobby. I like him as a champion.
Mhm.
I think he's going to drop the title to Seth at WrestleMania if that's the plan they go. But I would rather see Bobby get another decent title reign out of it.
And right now, Big E looks buried.
Yeah.
He looks under the water.
Like if they kept the title on with Bobby till SummerSlam to actually develop somebody for him, I'd be cool with that. Like if you're bringing Braun Breaker after WrestleMania, you got two people there that you could have him go against, Bobby or Roman.
Bobby will drop the belt at Mania.
Yeah. Oh, I see it happening. But
Seth is too hot right now.
yeah, I just think Bobby's deserving of another title run.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like I said, this is where you're shooting yourself in your foot by the rash decision just because somebody got COVID.
Yeah.
You decided to do a hard right and veer in the complete opposite direction of having Brock win it.
But here's I don't need everybody locked up with a title for long title reigns. Because right now you have Becky. She's been champ for how long? SummerSlam. Roman for two years.
Almost the year and a half.
Year and a half. Charlotte's had the belt for forever. Only belts that's switching right now is the Raw one.
Yeah. And Priest had the U.S. title for a bit.
Nakamura's had the Intercontinental title for a bit.
I don't mind hot potatoes with those.
Yeah.
But I don't need all 4 titles locked up.
Even Dana's had the 24/7 title for a minute.
Yeah, but the main ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? First live show, 4 dumb marks sitting together around the horn.
Mm-hmm. And whatever this formation is.
It's a round table. I don't know what it is.
Crescent moon.
Yeah, we're on a crescent moon.
Some semi-L.
Something makeshift for the night.
All right. Well, nobody got anything else? Hit us up on social media. Follow the show. Go to YouTube. Hit the bell. Like, subscribe. You know the drill there, so you get notifications when we go live. Email dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, dumbmarkspod. ProWrestlingTees.com/dumbmarkspod. Pick up some merch. We'll give you a shout out live on air. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. First of many. Hopefully we can get back in it and get it in person. I think the vibe was a little bit better.
Elimination Chamber for sure.
No. I'll be at work when that
work.
review. Yeah.
We gotta
No,
work.
that's gonna be Saturday.
It'll be Saturday? Yeah, I'm still not watching it. So
We gotta do the pod.
yeah.
We'll be the pre-show.
All right, well, on to WrestleMania. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in, folks. I'm a Mark, you're a Mark, tell a Mark. And until next time, y'all can catch us around the way.